Between all of the Packhacker team members, we've taken a lot of trips, like hundreds. Along the way, we've learned a lot of tips and tricks that can make travel easier. So today, we're sharing what we bring instead of some common gear you may be packing. Let's dive in. We'll start with medication and supplements. There's no need to make room for half the pharmacy in your toiletry bag so you can pack vitamins, pain meds, and allergy pills. Use a pill organizer instead. It takes up less space in a DOP kit than several different bottles and helps keep you on track. It can be hard enough to remember what day it is when you're on vacation, let alone whether or not you've taken your vitamins. Depending on where you're traveling, you may be able to include prescription medications here as well. TSA doesn't require them to be in their original bottle when you travel, but different states and countries have different regulations, so make sure you check before you hit the road. We personally haven't had any issues with this before, but you don't want to be stranded on a trip without the medications that you need, so it's better to be safe. If you don't need to use all of the available slots for supplements, they work well for organizing earrings, rings, and other jewelry as well. It's just as essential to lock down your travel documents. So we're carrying a passport wallet when traveling internationally. We look for one that's thin enough to carry every day throughout our trip and incorporate added functionality we miss in a minimalist wallet. A good travel wallet will have space for your passport in addition to the cards and cash you need. If you're carrying paper documents and tickets, you may want to look for one with larger slots to fit them. Tom likes travel wallets like those from Bellroy and Allet, which have space for a mini pen so he can be ready to fill out customs forms when needed. If you opt for one with space for more than one passport, you may also be able to slide a tiny notebook inside if you like to have one handy for bright ideas and notes. Or you can pick one that's more of like a slip cover for a passport and it doesn't have any additional storage, though we prefer that storage because then you don't have to have an additional wallet if you don't want. Whichever one you choose, a travel wallet keeps everything organized and within reach in your pocket or sling. If you know that you're going to need to pull out your liquid toiletries when you go through security, try packing everything in one bag. A 1-liter clear bag is likely enough space for all of your grooming gear, and then you have more space in your travel backpack for all of your other things. If liquids make up the bulk of what you need to bring, you can use the extra space around your bottles for a comb, travel toothbrush, and a tiny pill container. You'll sacrifice organization like elastic loops or pockets to hold your toiletries, but you'll be able to pull your bag out directly at TSA and just send it through, so the convenience is worth it. The alternative is packing a clear bag inside of a larger DOP kit, but then you'll have to take time to repack it if you're asked to show it. Instead, use something like Gravel's pouch and you can hang it up on a hook or around the towel rack when you reach your destination. Of course, you could use solid toiletries and get rid of the 311 bag altogether. We like gear like Dr. Bronner's Castile soap and Bite Beauty Balm solid lotion, and it's easy to find solid cologne and toothpaste tabs to avoid liquids entirely. Just like you slim down your packing with toiletries, you should also do so with shoes. Footwear takes up a lot of space in your luggage, so the fewer pairs you can bring, the better. The right travel shoe can dress up or down for different situations, so you can get more wear from just one pair. It's essential to choose one that's comfortable enough to wear daily throughout your trip, though, since you'll be wearing it all day without giving the insides time to bounce back. There are sometimes reasons you may have to pack more, though. If you want to bring sandals, look for something thin and packable and wear your bulkier shoes on the plane. If you plan to run or work out and you need shoes specific for that, you can use the inside of the shoes to pack smaller gear. You'd be amazed how many pairs of socks and underwear you may be able to squeeze inside, and then you won't get sore feet from putting miles on your shoes while exploring and marathon training in the same pair. If you're traveling to another country, you may need to bring a travel adapter to plug in your gear. Instead of picking just a plug adapter, choose one with multiple ports. We've had our hands on many travel adapters that are also universal wall chargers, from the Mogic Super Bagel to the Tesson International Plug Adapter, and we like ones that have multiple USB ports and outlets so we can charge multiple devices. While they can be big and bulky, they still likely take up less space than carrying an adapter and a separate wall charger, since those can also be on the larger side. Sometimes it feels like we live in a science fiction fantasy world when it comes to our technology. But that's why most travelers can get away with packing their phone instead of a bunch of other gear too. Obviously, this isn't true if you're a professional photographer or even a hobby shutterbug, but if you don't need specialized equipment, leave a camera and an iPad or tablet at home. A phone's built-in camera and editing features can get a lot of the shots you want on a trip, and it'll also have apps for docs, maps, streaming, and other entertainment. Even though your phone has a much smaller screen, you won't be staring at it super long when you're traveling, so there's a good chance you won't mind as much, and you can still keep in touch with everybody back home. You may also be able to leave tickets and credit cards home for certain days of your trip. Whether you have an Apple Wallet or Google Pay, you can tap your phone to buy food, transportation, and more. Plus, most excursions and experiences will allow you to have your tickets sent via email. Along with keeping you from standing in line at will call, it also saves you space in your wallet and Sling if you opt for digital documents. But we recommend downloading things ahead of time so that you know whether or not they work, whether you're adding it to your wallet, or just making sure that that PDF can open when you need it. Data when you're traveling can be a little bit iffy, so it's best to just make sure you're set. When it comes to daily carry, we prefer slings versus a big day pack when possible. Crossbody bags are usually smaller and more compact than a backpack. Plus, depending on where we're carrying our gear, using one will keep us from a sweaty back. Most of the time, you just need something to hold your phone, wallet, and keys throughout the day as you travel, and a sling has room for that. They come in various sizes, so you can pick one to suit your needs, but even the larger ones are usually smaller than a tiny backpack, so it's a great way to cut down on your carry. If you don't need your beverage to stay icy and you have a way to refill your bottle, we recommend going for a collapsible water bottle. Options like the Vapor Eclipse are there when you need them and lighten up as you sip. Plus, they take up much less space than larger bottles and way less than insulated ones. If you're going to the zoo or an amusement park or even taking in a museum or two, you'll likely have access to water fountains or refill stations the next time you get thirsty. Then you can stay hydrated without weighing down your bag. Packing the right reusable utensils can save the environment and some space in your bag. If you're trying a lot of street food or have picnics planned for your next trip, you may want to bring your own fork, knife, and spoon to avoid using disposable plasticware. But smaller options are available, so you don't have to bring multiple pieces. We like the Human Gear Uno, which has a fork at one end and a spoon at the other, and if you pop this into your sling, you'll be ready for every roadside treat. Carrying a thinner towel to the beach or the pool will save space in your bag and take some weight off your back. Drying off with something like the Nomadix Ultralight Towel, Pack Towel, Personal Towel, or something equally as thin works nearly as well as a traditional beach towel while taking up half as much space in your beach tote. While you may think you need something thick and fluffy to dry off quickly, microfiber and new formulations of polyester and nylon absorb a lot more than they weigh, so you'll get the job done with something much smaller. Plus, brands like Nomadix offer them in various colorways, so you don't have to sacrifice style for space. Staying protected from the sun when you're traveling is essential, but hats can be hard to pack. Luckily, there are packable options, whether you prefer a beach hat or a ball cap. Look for head coverings with flexible materials that bounce back after you crush them. Packable baseball caps will have less rigid brims than standard models and will lack the structure of trucker hats, but there are some more stylish options out there that don't look floppy. And while you may like supporting local artisans in the Caribbean when buying a locally woven straw hat, they're much harder to stuff back into your bag than ones like this beach hat from Fur Talk. It's made with flexible paper straw and designed to bounce back after a stint in the suitcase. I brought 2 beach hats to the Dominican when I traveled this past year, and it was really nice to just stuff something flat in there, but I had to make sure that when I got there, I unpacked it and fluffed it out a bit so that it didn't stay crushed up for too long, or else it's harder to get those creases out. When you're shopping for souvenirs and groceries, the clerk may try and toss everything into a plastic sack. Besides the fact that they can rip easily, those bags aren't the best for the environment. Instead, make space for a small packable bag and pull it out of your sling or day pack when you need to carry larger gear home. Many pack down super small, so you can have one on you at all times since you never know when you'll need an awesome t-shirt or catch a sale on local wine and cheese to take home for happy hour. Using one throughout your trip will save you from accumulating a bunch of bags from different stores, which you'd have to find a way to dispose of before checking out. Or if you do end up with a bunch of those bags, you can always use them for dirty laundry if you don't already have a bag packed for that. We're big fans of playing games with our companions on a trip to kill time. Unfortunately, packing Uno, Skip-Bo, and Monopoly takes up a lot of space. That's why we look for options like the Cartisan Mini one-deck game and scorecards, which take up less room than a traditional deck but let you play a bunch of different games. From Go Fish to Euchre, Rummy, and all the other games you can play with a standard deck of cards, you can also play chess, checkers, dominoes, and more with the set. You can also use it to keep score for games like poker and cornhole. The square cards are about half the size of a traditional deck, yet they're easy enough to hold since they're not super skinny. Then everyone can have a fun way to pass the time, whether you're waiting for a delayed flight or enjoying cocktail hour at the Airbnb. Whether you're traveling somewhere with spotty internet connection or you just want a way to remember your trip other than posting on Facebook and Instagram, it's nice to have another way to jot down those memories. Bringing a travel journal will help you remember the good times you're having, along with any hiccups you want to avoid the next time you travel to that destination. While you could just pack a blank notebook, we find that dedicated travel journals with prompts may make it easier to get started recording your memories as you make them. You can always share on social media when you get home, but you won't forget the name of your favorite restaurants and destinations by the time you get home if you're jotting them down as you go. So those are some of the swaps that we recommend for your next trip. What do you do differently to save space and take some time to disconnect and enjoy your vacation? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.